My experience with getting an endorsement started when I was very young, and I was touring with the New Edition. And in the mid-'80s, they were like the Jackson 5 of that era, the Justin Bieber of that era. They were superstar kids, and I was playing with them, and they were huge, selling out arenas and TV shows. At that point, I didn't even think I was worthy of an endorsement. Somebody had to school me to say, yes, you're worthy of an endorsement for one simple reason. You're on a big, high-profile gig. Not because you're some legendary player, because you're in the beginning of your career, but you're on a high-profile gig of which this band is being seen on television and all over the world and live concerts. So that's what makes you a viable commodity to an instrument manufacturer. I actually had to be talked into thinking that it's okay for me to approach an endorsement, because I felt like, well, this is really my first real big gig. Maybe I'm supposed to wait 10 years till I'm really established. So I learned very quickly that it wasn't about that. It was about the vehicle that you're in. So every musician needs to be in a vehicle. The vehicle is the gig, the job, where it's high profile enough to warrant you approaching somebody. But now, that being said, today I find it amazing how many young people I meet that want to get an endorsement, but they're not on any gig, and they're trying to seriously seek out an endorsement. And my advice to them is to always look at it from the instrument manufacturer's side. How many drumsticks are going to sell because you play them? How many people are going to buy this drum set, these drum heads, because you're playing them? If you're only playing in your local little market and 5 people are going to buy them, then why would any company give you a bunch of free stuff? And so the most important aspect of understanding the art of sponsorship is to understand that it's a mutual beneficial deal and agreement. You should always be thinking of how can I benefit them? How can I benefit my companies? And that's the way I think. I want, at the end of the year, the companies that I sponsor to have made more money because I'm on their roster. I'm not thinking about all that I can squeeze out from them. I'm thinking about all I can put back into the company. Because if all the endorsers are just squeezing, which many of them do, then there's no money from the company to do anything with to keep you going through the endorsement and keep you with the instruments that you need. So you have to always think, there's a quote somewhere in the book by, I forgot who it was, but one of the big time, wealthy, the Rockefellers, talking about, my father always taught me that the most important business deal is you got to make sure that the other guy makes some money too. Because if all these people eventually don't make money, you won't have any more business to be in. And that's a good rule of thumb, is you got to make sure the other guy makes some money. And so to me, the key of being a great endorser is to be a servant to that company and to represent them in the most positive light and to promote their instruments and to not try to just get something out of it. Also, to not endorse instruments you don't believe in. That's like marrying somebody you don't love. But endorse instruments that you believe in, that you'd be proud to tell people about how great they are, because that's really the job of an endorser. And it's a mutually beneficial relationship. It could be very great if both things are working for each party to prosper. In the real world, in the natural world, aside from music, an endorsement is just an agreement if somebody wants to back you. It's like being an employee for a company. An endorsement in that world is you are a representative of that company, that corporation you work for. And the better representative you are, and the better you help sell that company and that product, the more that company is bound to promote you, to give you more money, because you are an asset. So the analogy or the relationship between the company and the endorser is really the business relationship of the employee versus the owner of the company. If you are the employee and you are helping that company to make a lot of money because you're a great employee, you are naturally going to be blessed, and they're going to give you more money because you're too valuable to lose. You're an asset. So it's really just a business deal. Is I represent X company with all these skills and this ability. If you have somebody who's a great sales rep for a company, man, he's making money for that money hand over fist. That company's going to want to give him perks and vacations and money and increase favor and increase platform because you're too valuable. It's the same thing in any work relationship. If as an employee you are giving more than you're taking, they naturally are going to want to compensate you because you're too valuable to lose. And in the instrument world, it's the same thing, only it's products that one is saying, I play this product, or an athlete does the same thing. But when you become a detriment to the company, or your image is tarnished and your reputation is bad, and it's associated with the company, you're bringing the company down, they're going to want to cut you loose. It's happened to many famous athletes. It's the same thing in the corporate world. If you're representing the company in a negative way, they're going to want to cut you loose. Be an asset and not a liability. It's something I tell my children when I drop them off for school every day. I say, be a blessing, not a curse. Be an asset, not a liability. Be a blessing and not a burden. The more you are looking out for other people, the more you're going to prosper. For an independent musician, for a sideman, a hired gun, the relationship between the musician and the company is much like a marriage. And it's a very beneficial relationship for a player to have an endorsement with a great company whose instrument they play, because what are we doing? We're playing instruments. We're out there performing with these instruments, and those are very important to our sound. And there are many benefits that come from endorsing a company. They help promote who you are through their catalogs and magazines and websites and advertisements, and that helps to build your name, which helps to eventually earn money from other things because your name is bigger. But timing is very important to understand, and part of the art of marketing and the art of sponsorship, where they meet together, is to understand that there's a timing in which to promote yourself and there's a timing in which to hold back. Many people aren't discerning what those times are, and they're trying to promote themselves or land press or endorsements or publicity prematurely before the product is developed or before there's a reason to. You have to have a reason to promote something, and there has to be a reason to promote your product, because if you're just promoting it again and there's nothing behind it, then it's just, you might as well just put your ads of yourself in magazines. In other words, you can advertise yourself in Keyboard Magazine, Drummer Magazine, Golf Magazine, Tennis Magazine, and put an ad every month. Great golfer, call me for great golfing. But if you're not really great, that's just hype. That's just marketing. So you don't want to do things prematurely. What really, the timing to do those things is when you're on a big gig, when you've landed a gig. Now it's worthy of some press. Now it's worthy of a press release. But too many people are trying to just put themselves out there marketing and press-wise before the product is refined. They're not even out of the testing stages of their particular brand of soda, and they're wanting to sell it to people, but we haven't tested it. So timing is everything. It's crucial.